Alrighty, I want to keep the information train rolling. Full market coverage really couldn't be complete without talking about number two, Ethereum. And Ethereum is kind of in an interesting position. It it has been the dog for a while. I mean, it has really just has underperformed, you know, almost every other market. And I think this continues to surprise folks. And sometimes when you've had a market that has been such an underperformer, it becomes difficult to tell when the underperformance has ended. So there are a couple of pairs. There's like a BTC Ethereum or Ethereum BTC pair that you can kind of track. But harmonic wave analysis and Murray math allows you to always track things just by virtue of where they are in their frame. So there may be some opinion out there that Ethereum is on the mend and that things are getting better and it's healing. I don't think so. I think it is about to get throat stomped. Throat stomped. That's what happens, a few seconds before you die. Ethereum is not only did it peak sooner than BTC and was unable to create a secondary peak, but it led the decline in a little bit of a more precipitous way, and the bounces have been just weaker and weaker and weaker. So I really do believe that Ethereum is actually going to just lead the market lower. I'm watching the Ethereum market, not so much to trade it, but just to gather information from it. I'm watching Ethereum and EOS, with EOS being even weaker than Ethereum. So we're going to look at both Ethereum and EOS, both as our counter strength BTC play, our counter strength BSV play. So we see some strength in BSV, we see some strength in BTC, but ETH and EOS both the exact opposite. So here is that rally. Long-term look of Ethereum. The rally ended here June 26th. If we were to switch over just briefly to compare that to BTC, what we see is that BTC had a rally that also ended on the 26th. However, the subsequent rally almost made a new high in BTC. Here you can see BTC almost reclaimed its high at 13.2, and it was part of a flash as well. So BTC really was able to get a lot closer to making a new high. And then when we look at the action in Ethereum, let's get to the bigger chart of Ethereum, we'll see that it was notably absent. It was pretty far away, where this thing peaked out in the 363 range, yet the test or the retest only got to 318. So it was about 40 points or so shy of retesting it. If it were able to get up to 340, had it gotten up to 340, it would have been keeping up with BTC, but it didn't. So money was flowing at this next rally. Money was flowing out of Ethereum again, back into BTC. The cowardly move, the carry trade. People were getting out of one, moving into another, and what happened afterwards was this pretty sharp decline in Ethereum. And then we'll go back and take a look at what that looked like versus the BTC decline. So the BTC decline that ensued, you'll see it was nasty, but it brought us back to the center of the upward trend channel, and that's where we've been holding, and that's why we say that it is a relative stronger performer. It was able to hold the old lows. It was able to keep from overlapping waves. It was doing all these very basic things that are bullish. Going back to Ethereum, what we'll see here is that it could not hold the overlapping wave formation. Overlapping waves ended in Ethereum here, and then all the way down here, it is just barely hanging on by a thread here before it begins to overlap the next set of waves. It also did not hold the center of the trend channel. It just plummeted precipitously When we go from the top of the trend channel to the very bottom of the trend channel, that is some serious weakness. I would expect dead cat bounces that end up in lower prices. When you can clear from one side of the channel all the way to the other, that is the end of multiple trends. So we really hope that does not happen, but we have to look at the chart and what it is saying and what it is doing. What it is saying and doing is that there is significant weakness here. I mean, we are hanging on by a thread. If we were to dip below, say, for example, 195, support on ETH is until 142. I mean, is anyone really ready to see ETH at 142? Are you ready to go back and retest the old, almost the old lows of the entire bear market rally? I don't think anybody thinks that's right around the corner, but it is. So that's what we've got there when we look at Ethereum. Another wonderful piece of data here that we need to look at Ethereum. Of course, here is the entire bear market that Ethereum was in. And then, of course, when it left that downward channel, it printed a particle line. And so we've got to put that particle line up there and really put it as the next low target in Ethereum. We're not saying that it's definitely going there, but if it does begin to sell off, where is that target? And, of course, that is here. That is that particle line. That is also the Murray Math bottom of the frame line, the number we just described. And that number, of course, here is around the 141. So I'm going to go ahead and print that here as well as just a deep warning to anyone who is just a diehard Ethereum fan. This just ravaging rape of ETH may not be done. So 142, extreme retest area. If you see Ethereum break down, get the hell out of the way. If you were thinking about taking longs here, this is just, it's tough. I mean, you can take some high speed longs. And if we zoom in here and take a look at some of what these long plays might have looked like, you can see that they were pretty good off the rip, but they just keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And here was the rally that we had last night, and you can see that it weaked out. So it really needs to make a new high. It's got to make a new showing over here. If it's able to make a new showing, then it doesn't repair the problem in ETH at all. It does not repair the problem. ETH has an internal particle line here. Let's see. These are my drawing tools. Here we go. Has an internal particle line here. It's going to kind of cap rallies. But hell, that'll feel a lot better for the market. Maybe a lot of healing can happen between now and then. If this were to occur, this would be much better. I prefer that this occur. I'm a bull in the crypto space. Hard to have a rally in the crypto space if one of the number 2 market cap markets is getting crushed. So the throat stomp comes for ETH here. Stop loss is around 203. Clear out if you see 203. If you can see some higher prices above 226, perhaps things get a little bit more bullish. And if things get bullish for ETH, well then hell, everything else is going to be real bullish. So that's where we are there. So there's the ETH update. Pop that up there. And if we were to see a bullish move in ETH, it may look like this, a little bit here, a little bit of there, a little bit of shake and jiggle, and then a very short-lived pop that probably ends in still what it just, this looks very possible to me. No other chart looks quite as bearish as ETH does, except for the topic of our next discussion, which is EOS. Let's take a look at a real loser. What does that look like? Here we go. Big loser. Man, just the biggest loser. Used to love this thing. Had high hopes. Didn't happen. Let's compare the BTC and ETH rallies to EOS. Now, this obviously looks just like a complete clusterfuck. So let me see if we can clean this up by hitting this magical erase button. So just take a look. I mean, just take a look. It speaks for itself. The entire bear market rally has ended in ETH. I mean, we had a flash and crack, and it took it down to 280. I mean, these are the basically the lows. I mean, what I'm seeing in ETH is a possible retest down here of $1.30. You heard it right, $1.30. I will put a print here. $1.30 is the Murray math line. It's actually $1.24, $1.30 is the 1/8 line just above that. But maybe things don't have to get that ugly. I'm sort of being extreme here. The particle line in ETH that is being retested pretty much with the current activity. We'll do a little education here. We were going to take this. We will plant the downward trend. That was the bearish trend for the whole bear of 2018. Next, what we will do is we will use the mega white color here. This is basically the most previous largest trend. When you see me put them up in the large white, brightest thing you can see on a black background, that's why it's the mega trend. And then of course the particle line here in EOS prints here. Oh, look at that. Is anyone really surprised? Oh my God, the market retested the particle line. Yeah, kind of annoying for me to say that, but some people believe the markets are random. Some people believe that the math I propose is bullshit, quite frankly. But too bad for them. Here we have an event that occurred on February the 13th. Here we have an event that occurred on July 25th. So maybe 4 months later. How can these two events be connected? How can they be connected? Well, they're connected by the description of what a particle ejection is, and this is how they're connected. And this didn't happen on every market. This happened, I think, particularly on Kraken. I don't think it happened on other major markets, but maybe it did. I don't watch every single exchange. I watch Kraken where I trade. I watch Bitfinex. I watch Bitstamp. I watch Coinbase. I watch some of the markets that I watch. So this flash did not occur. However, when the flash does occur, it seems to replicate itself. And if a market is leading in one direction and EOS is clearly the weakest market, when we switch back over to what we were just describing in ETH, wrong chart, we can see that ETH also appears to be tracing out the path that EOS is leading. So the particle line in ETH is down here at 142, and then the highest relative strength comes from BTC. So BTC's particle line, also on the map, also discussed a few nights ago, similar trajectory here down at 51.50. But BTC is here. So when we talk about relative strength, this is what we're talking about. Comparing markets to each other and seeing where they are in their particular waveform and seeing which one is getting ahead and which one is getting left behind. So BTC clearly is having the absorption of capital moving out of EOS, moving out of Ethereum, and continues to move into BTC. It creates a delay in BTC, it creates a defensive play in BTC, makes the rallies in BTC larger than the rallies would be in ETH and EOS. However, it does not inoculate you from a bear market. If there's a bear market happening in your number 2, and your number 3, and your number 5 market cap securities, you can only play defense so long. People are selling out of their altcoins, moving into BTC, creating a defensive position there, and hoping to sort of prop up that market. However, if the market is weakening, it will eventually weaken BTC as well. So just keep an eye on that. BTC is nowhere near Ethereum, nowhere near EOS. It is 10 times the market cap of both of them combined. I don't even know if that's accurate. Don't hold me to that. Let's find out if that's actually right, though. Why not? Why not double check? Let's see here. Bitcoin roughly 186 billion, Ethereum at 23, EOS at 3. Put the two together, you're roughly at 27. 27 times 10 is 270 billion. So no, that is not accurate. 187 divided by 27, it's about 7 times. So Bitcoin is 7 times the size of these other two markets. So if you see weakness there, don't freak out too much. It's not going to translate, 100%. However, the trend is there. EOS is getting killed. let's take a further look at what throat stomping looked like back then. So when we talked about ETH looking like it was going to get throat stomped, why do we use such a horribly violent phrase? Well, I don't know. If you've ever seen anybody's throat get stomped, it looks pretty violent. It may look something like this if it were in a chart. Let's change these colors over to gray mega. So this was the rally that was in EOS, and this is the position that ETH was in. I don't know if any of you have any friends that are twins, fraternal twins or identical twins, but they look the same. That's why they call them twins. So we're going to flip back and forth, and we're going to look at what EOS looks like and what ETH looks like, and we'll go back and forth. And you guys let me know if you think that the two have a similar look. So here's the initial drop. Here was the lack of EOS being able to do any kind of significant real double test on the high. It came up very, very, very short. And what followed after that was a significant decline and then a wedge right above the edge of the trend channel. So this is kind of what we're highlighting here when we talk about the twins. We're gonna pop this part in here, okay, and we're gonna brighten this up, make it real visible. Hell, why don't we use white? All right, there you go. So there is that move there at EOS. Here comes the throat stomp that takes it, practically back down to the particle line, practically back down to the bear market, 2018 into early 2019 lows. Let's switch back over to ETH, and oh no, why does that look so similar? So let's use white again, and let's just do it again here. So this one's here, 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 and here. So horrible little bounce, can't regain anything. The lack of the ability to come up and do a significant retest. Throat stomping, it's possible right here. They're getting the boots ready. They're lacing up the laces. ETH, could just see sometime in the near future the throat stomp. If I had a boot icon, do I have a boot icon? Let's take a look. Do I have a boot? That'd be great. What's the closest thing we have to a boot? Trading view. Let me down. All these little characters. No boots. No boots. Apparently you're not familiar with boot stomping. Well, no, we got nothing. We got nothing like a boot. How about this fire extinguisher? How about the fire extinguisher? Put out the fire. I don't know. So anyhow, here's our fire extinguisher. Could be a fire in ETH. Don't get it twisted. Continue to go long in BTC. Do not take positions in ETH. If ETH is able to make a new high, do not be fooled that would be strength. That wouldn't be strength. This market has more pain and damage and consolidation in it. That's not to say that we don't see the possibility for a nice rally here. It's just saying that the structural supports here are not looking good. It needs a new low. Once the new low is made, it doesn't have to come down here to the particle line, but once the new low is made, perhaps things can start to look legitimately better. But it needs its fifth wave, 5 waves down. It needs 5 waves down. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be followed by any kind of a large 3-wave counter trend. This is Elliott wave. You could try to make the argument that this is a 3 waves down. I mean, you could, except you've got this enormous 5 waves down that went on in EOS, and it's all looking very similar. So I don't know. Play the math, play the numbers. EOS is the harbinger of bad news. Maybe when EOS gets down here into the 280 range, I will be recommending a buy at 280 for particle line support, something around 250, 280. if that happens, if you see it, buy it, buy the farm, mortgage the house. I take that back. I would mortgage the house on some BTC pullbacks, but not EOS. It's just been beaten so badly. So anyway, gonna wrap up this video. Sorry if my colorful language offended anybody, but you know something's got to catch the attention. Um, this would essentially give the high price on EOS. We'll cover just a little bit more data. Let's put this in here. So like EOS going to have a heck of a time getting above, you know, about 575 or so. Targets in EOS, you know, include here at 283, and then perhaps down here as low as 125. Switching back over to ETH. Let's get rid of some of the mumbo jumbo. Fire extinguisher, you're not a boot. You're really not as good as the boot. And let's just get kind of tight. So here's extreme low, 142.55. We're not there yet. We're still up here. We haven't broke down. The throat stomp hasn't begun. However you want to know, you know, when they're lacing up the boots, getting ready to stomp in the throat, you want to be sure you're prepared to run. And here's where we are here. So let's see if they can pull this out. Let's see if they can pull out one more rally to retest this old internal particle line. If they did, prices could get as jolly and cheery as 261, but don't let it fool you. It's probably going to come right back and come right back in a hurry. So all these scenarios here, they all kind of line up the same. BSV, BTC, ETH, they all have the possibility for, you know, kind of a three-wave counter trend rally to push us up for a flashing type fleeting high, and then what looks like everybody needs lower lows coming. The markets that have been beaten the worst, at the end of their waves, they'll be compressed. They won't stretch and elongate the way they might in BTC. So in BTC, it loses its support. You know, there will be no place to hide there either. When BTC loses its support here and falls perhaps from 10 down to, you know, 7,500, you know, this will probably catch the news. People probably get pretty bearish. And then of course, if it were to break this after the bounce, you know, down to 5,000, you know, I think that would catch everybody's attention and pretty much take the wind out of the entire crypto space's sail. But we're not there yet. So anyway, lots of information there. Hope that helps. Be in touch shortly.